So what we are starting with is this AMT Cal Drag combo, which is technically 3 kits in one. There is a 64 Galaxy, a 64 Falcon, and a towing trailer. That's right. So you could build 3 different models out of this and then put them all together in one location, and it could make like a little scene or a diorama of some sort. Now, in this particular case, we are just going to be dealing with the Falcon aspect of things because, quite frankly, the Galaxy is a curbside kit. And what a curbside kit is, it means the hood does not open. Neither do any of the other parts of the vehicle. But this has no engine. This is actually kind of probably more like an old promo kit because the screws that hold the chassis in place. I don't particularly care for these because I don't know why. I just don't. But we are going to go with the Falcon, the 1964 Ford Falcon, which is a Gasser kit. So the first part that I am going to start with on this particular kit is the engine and transmission. And in this particular kit, it comes with a 427 SOHC motor. So SOHC stands for single overhead cam. One on each head, which was kind of like Ford's, I'm going to say it was like Ford's retaliation for the Hemi. But now you will see here, this is pretty much assembled and wired. And some of you out there that do and are familiar with the SOHC motors will say, hey, Pharto, you did not wire this engine correctly. Well, I kind of looked at the parts in the kit, and I kind of thought the same thing. I thought the same thing. But then I did a little bit of research, and I found some photographs with the wires, the plugs in the bottoms, like I have shown. And these were the prototypes of these particular motors. Not very many of them made. Very, very few of them made. But based on what was in this model kit, I decided I was going to do the same thing. So to give this a little bit more personality, I decided I was going to make this into a Gasser with a prototype style motor. Yeah, something a little bit different, or something that might confuse some people. They might want to call you out and say, hey, Fharto, you don't know what you're talking about or what you're doing. This is a sign, but it's not what that's supposed to be like. Well, I'm here to tell you that it can be the way that I have it shown if you just use your imagination a little bit. That's right. So, moving right along, the next step in this build is going to be the chassis. However, there's some parts of the chassis and the rear differential, and of course the body of the Falcon, which are all going to be painted to match. So the next step really is to start the painting process. Now, I use an airbrush for just about all of my builds because I like the control and I like the color selection that I can find. It's a little bit better than the spray cans, the rattle bombs, so to speak. So now, after everything has been painted to match certain areas, match colors, they've now decided to add a little bit more color to the frame of this and assemble the chassis. So as you can see, the differential, the rear differential is in place, the front straight axle is in place, and the 427 SOHC motor has been installed in the chassis. So right now we have a rolling chassis, as you can see. Well, at which point, then, we begin the painting and assembly process on the interior of the Gasser. And unfortunately, I was a little confused. I don't know, something. and did not take a lot of pictures of the interior assembly process. So I have this one right here. So now that the chassis and the interior has all been completed, assembled, and painted, we can then move on to applying the BMF. And that does not stand for, that stands for bare metal foil, which we apply to models, the chrome on the models, to make it look more realistic. It looks better than silver paint. It's a little tricky to work with, and some people can have problems with it. I understand, because even I, El Fharto, have some issues manipulating this stuff. But then we can do that, and then we can move on to the mock-up portion of this model build. Yeah. Once we are satisfied with how the mock-up looks, now we can finish the assembly of the chassis and the body. Yeah. Now this kit comes with a couple different things that I don't recall ever seeing in other kits. I'm sure it was there. I just never had one. I never built one. This particular gasser, this 1964 Ford Gasser, came with two different sets of windows. One was clear and the other one was tinted blue, which I thought was pretty cool, but when I tried the blue tinted windows in with this turquoise colored body, it just did not look right to me, so I decided to go with the clear. Made a much, much better complement to the color of the body of the vehicle, in my opinion. Final assembly and some decals added.